Hello, everybody. This is Pitch Gold Black here, and welcome to part 2 of my missing TV material talk video. Almost a month ago now, I uploaded this missing material TV talk episode in which I covered the Avengers find, possible Doctor Who finds, softly finds, and that video has just blown up. And I'm not doing this just to get more views, but there has been some interesting stuff that I have discovered and some interesting rumors going around, and I'm going to share you my sort of theories on this mainly. This is mainly going to be talking about the smugglers, but I am very excited to announce to you guys that 2 episodes of Z Cars have been found, if that's how you pronounce this show, or Z Cars, or whatever it is. So on the same website that the Avengers Tunnel of Fear was announced on, it has also been confirmed that in the same private collection was 2 episodes of Z Cars, Family Feud, and A Fray. I rolled past one of these in my previous video on this subject, but didn't spot it at the time. If I would have spotted it. I would have talked about it, obviously, but I just wanted to let you guys know that 2 episodes of Z Cars have been found, and they are both from season 1 of Z Cars, I do believe. And so yeah, that's all I've really got to say on the Z Cars sort of side of thing. But something really interesting has happened with Doctor Who The Smugglers as of late. If I could find the correct link. Here is a really interesting post on a missing episode forum. This was first brought to my attention by let me think here, Dr. Forever, a fellow YouTuber, and the post is very, very interesting to say the least. Just checking if my mic is not muted. Morning, you may have heard on Great Britain some rumours, on GB some rumours about found evidence. Usually these are nothing to write home about. However, this one is. A few people were talking about this on Planet Mondas, so I thought I would share it here. There's a user called Evil Johnny, and here's a contact. The same contact informed him in September 2013 about the recovery of Webb and Enemy. You can even go and see his post in 2013 talking about it. Apparently, it was also said that he knew about the animated Power of the Daleks DVD release ahead of time. This all adds points of validity to the contact. On Christmas Day, he reported that his contacts informed him that it was 2 Hartnell episodes that have been found. He replied that he did not know which one's definite, but that is definitely true. He said his contact suspects that the other episodes have been animated, but that it was not definite. I think that this is something to get excited about, as it's from a very reliable source which has been proven in the past. I can't wait to say which one. P.S. has been clarified by Evil Johnny that he does not know if the rumour created by the clouded yellow is the same or not. He only knows that the Hartnell one is true and has been confirmed by his contacts. So from Dr. Forever's video, I can't quite identify it in here, but on Dr. Forever's video, he said that he deciphered this basically and said that the missing Hartnell episodes were from completely lost Hartnell stories or parters at that one, because 2 Hartnell episodes are found and have been animated. It would have been really easy for them just to animate 2 missing episodes for a DVD release if 2 were found. Is what I think basically Dr. Forever was saying. So it's pretty much definite that if they have been found, it's 2 missing Hartnell episodes from either 5 of his lost 4 stories, actually 4 lost stories, I think, and those would be I'm just trying to think here: the myth makers, the savages, the smugglers, and there is another one that I am forgetting. The massacre, the myth makers, the massacre, the savages, and the smugglers. Now, I'm going to point you towards something. I am pretty sure it has been the smugglers that have been found, because, of course, there was Anneke Willis going to Cornwall and whatnot after, Anneke Willis going to Cornwall, where they actually filmed the smugglers. And bearing in mind, this was posted almost a full month after her last post on the Power of the Daleks DVD. So this is not referencing the Power of the Daleks DVD release at all. This is referencing something completely different. And even after this, I don't think she tweeted about anything to do with Power of the Daleks for quite a while. 28th actually of October last year. So this is referencing something completely different, I think. And I think she is referencing the smugglers. Now, I do think it is the smugglers have been found, and just to go in a bit more depth, here's what I think has happened with the smugglers, and this is really interesting stuff. This link here. So it was just redundant. I was just using this as research, but I do believe it has been the smugglers that have been found. And here's the really interesting things. From what I can gather, there is little information on this extremely good website called Broadcast, or Broad Doctor Who Cast, on the smugglers. And normally when a website normally on this website, when it has such little information on a missing story, it's most likely that the Doctor Who story itself in question only had 2 copies printed. And now this is where it gets really interesting. Back in, I think it was 1975, the Daleks Master Plan Australian print were returned to the BBC. A BBC engineer stole the print of the Day of Armageddon, Daleks Master Plan Episode 2, and eventually returned it in 2004. Now, keep that in mind, because it is likely the same sort of thing happened with the smugglers. And personally, I think something like that may have happened with this. So let me explain. So from what I can gather, there was only 2 episodes or 2 prints of the smugglers full serial printed for overseas sales. New Zealand sent its film prints of this serial to Singapore in January 10th, 1972. The sale to Singapore was actually back catalogue, as they already started streaming John Pertwee's stories by this time. The ABC in Australia returned its prints to the BBC on June 4th, 1975. And the clips from the smugglers that were found were from the Australian prints, I'm pretty sure, because it says here that clips from the Smugglers episodes 1, 3 to 4, Highlanders 1, Underwater Menace 2 and 4, Macro Terror 3, 3 from the Deep 2, 4 to 5, and Wheel in Space episode 4 were all found from the National Archives from Australia. So I am, from deduction, I am pretty sure the clips of the smugglers found from Australia were actually the Australian prints that were, or the prints that were sent to Australia, and they were just censor cut and eventually returned to the BBC. Eventually, and going back to Master Plan, when Australia finally bought the Master Plan serial as an 11-part package, excluding the Feast of Stephen, they viewed the episode with and without cuts, and eventually returned it to the BBC in 1975, which led to the stealing of the Day of Armageddon and its eventual recovery. And those episodes were eventually wiped So if the same thing happened with this, the ABC in Australia returned its prints to the BBC in June 4th, 1975. Those prints were wiped, and the New Zealand prints were eventually sent back to the BBC, from what I'm theorising, because if they were sent to Singapore and it was actually back catalogue, because they'd already started screening John Pertwee stories by this time, and this being quite a late heart now, it's likely that they didn't even bother keeping the prints and just eventually sent them back to the BBC. So if that is correct, oh, actually, they screened it on March 1972, but which is actually after. So obviously, Singapore eventually screened it, but it would have been returned to the BBC eventually, as this was still in the 70s, most likely, or was in the 70s, and they would have been most likely returned to the BBC around this year here, 1975, I'm theorising. Now, the missing episode wiping stuff went on until 1981, believe it or not. And so it's likely that those prints of Singapore, of the New Zealand prints of the smugglers, were wiped as well as the Australian prints, from what I can theorise. So that probably, now this is probably sort of, and now you're probably thinking, well, how can the smugglers be found if both these sets of tapes were wiped? I'm theorizing. Now, this is all just theory. This is just theory. I am theorizing that something like the Daleks Master Plan, Episode 2, Day of Armageddon, happened. Somebody ended up stealing the New Zealand or Australian prints, or possibly even both, and has eventually returned them to the BBC. Now, I think this would have, now if this theory is correct, it wouldn't have been the BBC engineer that stole the Day of Armageddon print. It would have been a completely different person, because if it was the person that stole the Day of Armageddon print that actually stole these episodes, he would have returned them at the same time as the Day of Armageddon print. So if he had, and yeah, and I'm just trying to get my brain together for this. I'm completely brain farting, but returned the Smugglers episodes back to the BBC at the same time, if he stole them along with the Day of Armageddon print. Plus, both of these prints of Daleks, Master Plan and Smugglers came from Australia and were sent back on 4th of June 1975. So it's possible, and the Daleks Master Plan prints were returned from Australia at the same time. So it's possible that it could have been the same person. But I'm thinking it was a different person that could have stolen the prints, because of Armageddon print would have returned the Smugglers prints at the same time. So that's just theory on why smugglers had sort of been found. I'm theorizing that the two original prints were destroyed of the smugglers, or the two original copies, and that at least two of the episodes were stolen. See, and returned. Now, and that's basically my whole thing on the smugglers, but I've got a couple other things to point out. It was, let me think here. Logically, the person that stole the Day of Armageddon prints would have only stolen one episode, because he would have had to carry 11 prints and smuggle them back to home. So, entire master plan serial, all 11 episodes, they were sent to Australia, it would have been pretty difficult to smuggle them. But if somebody was to steal the entire Smugglers serial, it would have been a lot easier than the master plan serial, because that was 11 episodes versus 4, and you could have easily stolen 4 episodes a lot easier than 5 or than the master plan prints. So you could have easily stolen the all 4 of the smugglers prints a lot easier than the master plan prints. So if only 2 episodes of the smugglers have been found, why have only 2 been found and not the whole been found? If my theory is correct on the prints being stolen, because somebody steal the only 2 episodes of the smugglers from the BBC when it was returned in 1975, if you could have easily stolen the entire serial or 4 episodes, because I mean 4 episodes would have been quite easy to steal from the BBC, I think. 2 episodes from the smugglers were stolen from the BBC, and that one Day of Armageddon print was stolen. That was 3 episodes that have been stolen from the BBC. So it's not out of the possibility that 4 episodes of Doctor Who could have been stolen from the BBC, and that's the entire Smugglers serial. Now, what's really interesting about this, if it was the entirety of the Smugglers stolen and returned eventually, it's possible that it could be another Doctor Who William Hartnell story with 2 episodes found, like the Massacre, the Savages, or the Mythmaker, something like that, with 2 missing episodes animated. So that is possible as well. But I think it's also possible that there is, if I'm just found out, that there is way more missing episode announcements to be announced, because why would Anneke Willis go all the way to Cornwall for tweets to tweet about or to get photos and Smugglers recovery when it's only 2 episodes? Surely if she was to go to Cornwall just to promote the return of missing episodes, surely she'd be promoting a bigger amount of episodes than. It just seems strange to me that she would only go to Cornwall just to promote the return of 2 missing episodes. So I think Smugglers, entire serial of the Smugglers has been found, possibly. At least 2 episodes have been found, I think, and it is also possible that a couple other episodes of Doctor Who have been found, in my opinion. Again, this is all just theory, and this has gone on for quite a while. I'm not even sure if this video is any good or not, but I'm just going to end it here and see what you guys think of this video. So like, favorite, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Pitch Gold Black, dematerializing.